More talks, yes, but inspiring talks. The first one is an architect that I remember vividly. You know, we built this Neo building, and we didn't do that with a green architect, but with another architect. But for some things, I realized it was very, very difficult to find a solution for something. And then one time I remember phoning you, this architect, Thomas Rauw, who is really one of the green architects. And he's also ranked number 26 on the Duurzame Top 100, so the top 100 list of Dutch key players in sustainability, published in Trouw and broadcasted by Link. Now, he's placed at number 1 in the green building category of the Dutch Green.200 ranking by Green2 magazine. So, do you have any more that I can mention? But the thing is, he's a very creative architect that also came up with another company, and that is company Turntoo. And that is really interesting, because it also fits into a cradle-to-cradle philosophy where it's really silly to own a television. All you want to do is watch television. So it's really on performance, and you can forget about property. And I think that's what Thomas is going to talk about, and how you can see this. And it's a fundamentally different way of thinking. So that's really a transition. So Thomas, it's all yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. Does it work? Okay. Yes. Yeah. What I want to tell you is how to make new mistakes. That's it. Because the old mistakes we know already. So what are the new mistakes? So let's talk about the new mistakes. So as you see, I'm an architect. We started in 1992 to work in architect. We said we have one big handicap. The only way we can design a building is in a sustainable way. I had no idea how to design a building in a non-sustainable way. But let's start with Turntoo. Turntoo is a business model in between the circular economy. But how did we get there? This photo is a very famous photo. It's an illegal photo. It's done by Frank Borman, 1968, and he looked out of the wrong window. And he saw the earth, he took the camera, and he made the photo. He was not allowed to take the photo. But what you see, this is the first time in history that a human being is taking a photo from planet Earth. The first time that we see the planet where we are. For the inside, it was Christmas night, 1968. And what you see, the old Greeks were here, the new Greeks are here, the Romans were here, you are here, and that's it. Nothing will be added on the planet. So that means we have to take care for the planet. And I think that's what the sustainability is. Sustainability is not about solutions and all those certification condoms we have. No. Sustainability is about the attitude, our behavior towards everything what makes life possible on that planet. And what's very interesting is Kennedy, he said in 1962, in September, he said, over 7 years we go to the moon. Because it's not easy. It's hard to get there. So we want to do something because it's very difficult. He had no idea how to get there, what is the technique, if he has the money. He said, okay, this is a target in the future. So this is the second point, guided by the future. Mostly we are guided by the past or by the present, but we should be guided by the future. So what is our target in the future? Where do we want to be over 7 years? In Holland, for example. Because if you have no target, then the chance that your next step is in the wrong direction is quite high. So what is the target? One of the targets, I think, is Turntoo, because Turntoo is the engine for the circular economy. But what is Turntoo about? But let's start with the regular idea that we have an energy problem. We have no energy problem at all. We have an energy demand, but we have no energy problem. I know it's a big problem because for the new energy we don't have to pay tax, you don't get a bill from Godfather, whatever. It's free. And that's why we don't want to introduce this new kind of techniques to to get enough energy. But you know what happens? You're sitting here. Now it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Tonight you go home. You're very tired. You do your meditation, of course. And then you go to bed. And tomorrow morning, you're fresh, right? How comes? Did you put some energy in the night out of the wall to take some electricity to be loaded up? No. This happens to 7 million people every night. This is the most important energy we have. The freedom. The freedom to do something. The energy of the human being is the most important energy we have. And we should take care for that. So, I'm an architect, so we do a lot of buildings. We have around about now 100 buildings, and mostly all the buildings are neutral or even energy positive. There is no energy. We know already there is no problem. We can produce enough energy on the site for the climate and to use the building. So it's a really fairy tale. It's an economic fairy tale that we have an energy problem. So we said, okay, we do that beside. This is not a problem. But what is then the problem? But there is a problem. The problem is we have a raw material shortage. First time in history that we not have enough copper to make 40 million electric cars. So the first time in history that we don't have enough material to do the things we want to do out of freedom. So this is a really historical moment, and we have to work on that. This is from the Dutch Financial Times in the morning. Europe has not alert to increasing shortage of raw materials. That's what is really going on. We have to take care for that. So we need a raw material management. If you have a problem, you have to manage it. And maybe you see, these are your grandchilds. They're on the landfill, and they're digging for raw materials because we just throw them away. The linear economy creates waste, as you know. But how comes? What is the way we consume? You see on your left side, you see a telephone. It's from 1953. And we used that telephone for, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So that means in the past, the life cycle of a product was the same than the performance cycle. So when we had a problem, we fixed it, so it was going on. So we used it as long as we could use it. But that changed. You see the iPhone? If I would say, I just was in Amsterdam and I just bought the G6, all of you getting nervous. How comes he has a G6? I just got the 4S. How is it possible? Is there a new one? That's what happens. And if you look at the kitchen, on the left side, you find all the old iPhones. That means the performance cycle of the new products is much shorter than the life cycle. In the beginning, after the break, I put here a glass with a spoon in it on the table, and I'm missing that. Maybe it's possible to bring me back the glass, please, because I need it. Thank you. So this is how we consume. So the way, if we want to use the innovative products, we're producing more and more. We are producing, thank you, we are producing more and more waste. So, but the point is, why do we have to own all this crazy stuff? If we are just interested in the performance, don't you? But this is the linear economy, from cradle to grave. So we put something from the earth, we take it, we make it, and we dispose it. That's how this economy is functioning. That means we think there is more than plenty raw material, but it's not. We know that we have a big shortage, so in between we create a big problem. We know the cradle to cradle philosophy from Michael Braungart and Bill McDonough. They were the first one who introduced the biological cycle and the technical cycle. And they showed us how we should make the products in the future. So we should make the products in a way that we can disassemble it. That means we have to design it in a way that we can disassemble the product. So the cradle-to-cradle philosophy is a philosophy and it's not a business model. But it's the base for the new business model. Because there's one problem. If we produce like in the cradle-to-cradle principle, we see there's a leak. We can make a very nice product. It can be cradle-to-cradle. You get a lot of awards, and you have certifications and whatever. And then, if the user is not using, or the consumer is not using the product in a different way, it's getting lost also. So that means we have to organize the consuming of a product in a different way so that we can handle the cradle-to-cradle quality, that we can disassemble the product to get back all the raw materials, so that nothing is getting lost if we consume. That's what Turntoo is about. So Turntoo is organizing the consuming process and the producing process in a different way. We say, okay, if you want to see television, why should you buy a television? It's a kind of a chemical bomb, and you put it in your living room and you call it television. So why do we have to buy all this stuff? Why do we have to take the ownership of something we even don't know what is in it? And then we have to take care for it. The only one who knows exactly what is in it, and the only one who knows exactly how to take care for it, is the producer. So the future is that not the consumer is the owner of the product, but the producer. But the producer is saying, okay, but this is impossible for me because I don't have enough money. Then Turntoo said, okay, then we take the ownership of the product just for the period that the consumer is paying for the performance. So if he's not paying anymore for the performance, the product is coming back, and then it's getting back to the producer. So the producer is responsible for the consequences for his own acting. This is one of our problems, that we have a society that no one is responsible anymore for the consequence of his own acting. So why do you have to buy a wash machine if you just want to have washes? So we have a product, we have a project now in a big city in Holland, and we give 100 people, we just give them washes. So they get a washing machine, and they don't have to own it, they just pay for the performance. That means you don't have a start investment, and it's much cheaper. And you don't have to take care for it, because if the washing machine is broken or you have a problem, the producer has to take care for it, because he promised the performance. So we have to change. We have to change from consumption to usage. You know, we're coming on the planet with nothing. And we will leave that planet with nothing. And in between, we want to have everything. That makes really no sense. So let's consume us in a way that we're just consuming performance-based. You know that already. If you want to go from Amsterdam to New York, you never will buy a plane, don't you? You just pay for the performance, you just pay for the seat. If you go by train from London to Southampton, you don't buy the train, don't you? You just buy a ticket for the performance. So we know that system, but we should consume everywhere in between that system, that we don't pay for the ownership, but we pay for the performance. Maybe it sounds very strange, but this is our office in Amsterdam. So 3 years ago, we decided, okay, you know what? We put everything out of the office, and we asked the Dutch companies to deliver us, let me say, light hours. So we went to Philips, said, okay, Philips, you know what? We want to have 300 lux, 1,600 hours a year, and that's it. If you need a lamp, or a balloon, or an umbrella, okay, I don't care. And if this lamp needs milk, or juice, or electricity, I don't care. That's your problem. If you need electricity, and if you need raw material to give me the performance, it's your problem, it's not my problem. So in our office, we have light hours. We have light hours from Philips. And of course, they pay for the electricity, not us. Because they are the only one who can make energy-efficient lamps. It's not me. So we have light hours, we have table hours, we have sit hours, we have walk hours, we have sanitary hours, we have look-through hours. So all the stuff in our office is performance-based, and we are not the owner of it. That means that we have to realize that every product is a raw material bank. In the future, we bank the raw material in case of a product. Is it a car, shoes, chairs, lamps, television, whatever? These are raw material banks. And that's what we have to realize. Otherwise, we throw it away. If it's not a bank, it's getting lost. So we are now busy, because we are architects, we are busy now with the first real estate, which is a raw material bank. It's a big city hall, and we have to design it in a completely different way. We have to produce it in a completely different way. We have to handle it. We have to finance it. So everything is different to make out of a real estate a raw material bank. So we do that with our clothes, with our shoes, with our furniture, with our light, with our cars. So Turntoo is bringing products on the market without activating the raw material value. So the client doesn't have to pay for the raw material value. Because the product value is the raw material value and the added value. And what happens? Now I need the glass. If this is a regular product, maybe a lamp, it's coming to the retailer, and the retailer is giving to the customer, and he uses it, and then it's gone, right? But if it's a Turntoo product, then Turntoo is buying the product from the producer. Said, okay, this is the raw material value in your product. So let's separate that. So we separate it. This is going to the customer. He's paying for it because he wants to have the performance. And Turntoo is financing the raw material for the period that the product is with the consumer. After 5 years, the product is coming back. It's getting back to the producer. He got back the raw material, and then he has to pay back to Turntoo the value of the raw material. He's happy. He's got the money. He's happy. He's just paying for the performance. We are happy because the raw material is not getting lost. And he's again happy because he's getting the raw material for the price from 5 years ago. So this is a financial model. So what you see, we have a financial institute because we need money just for the period that the raw material is with the consumer. And then, of course, we need a good contract with the producer that said, okay, if I get back the product, I will pay you the money back. I will pay back the money to Turntoo. That means we need a raw material passport because we want to know what kind of raw material is in your product. How much is it? What is the weight? So because otherwise we can't calculate the daily value of the raw material in the product. So we ask every producer for a raw material passport. The next step is, and we want to do that here, we want to bring the first products on the market, inclusive energy. A laptop is just a laptop with electricity. So if Apple is selling a laptop without electricity, it's not a laptop, isn't it? It's a nice composition of raw material. It looks very sexy, but that's it. And I have to pay for the electricity. So I have to pay for the fact that he wants to deliver me the performance. That's the wrong way around. So I say the producer, he needs raw material and electricity to give me the performance iPad. So the future is that the electricity bill is not paid by the consumer, but it's paid by the producer. So Philips or Apple, they will sell the electricity. They have to buy the electricity. So the market will completely change. So they get an extra business model beside the regular business model. And I, as a consumer, I don't have to pay for it. And I'm sure that I always get the most energy sufficient product. Because if then the G5 is coming and I have a G4S from Turntoo, I give it back and said, okay, give me the G5. You get back the G4S. And that's it. And if you see what the difference is between the iPad 3 and iPad 2, it's about 10% extra performance. But they use 100% from the raw material to bring us the 10% performance. So the future is that we have to handle the hardware like the software. We just We just upgrade the hardware. We said, okay, if you put this in your iPad, then you have the iPad 6. And if you put this, you have iPad 7. So Turntoo is an engine for the circular economy, because we say we don't have to own the things, but we're just interested in the performance. So I want to finish my small lecture with the same photo. Frank Borman, he phoned to Nazareth. I'm very sorry. I took an illegal photo, and they said, okay, you know what, Frank? Take the color camera, make a new photo. And here we see the first legal photo from planet Earth. And I think what we can learn is we never can change the world. But we can change our perspective to the world. Thank you very much.
Very, very nice thought. I have one question.
Yeah.
That maybe good, because what if the return process you take care that it's a more local approach to it as well, or do you bring it back to the real original producer? Because there's also material banks that you could set up where you basically are the owner of copper, let's say, regardless of where it's in.
Yeah.
A bit. So how do you see that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's compare it with leasing. Because leasing means there's a producer A, and then he's giving it to B, and then he's giving to C, to D. So you just change the ownership with leasing. But with Turntoo is you have producer A, and he give it to B, and it's coming back to A. And then he said, okay, can I give it again to C, or I have to upgrade it? So the product is always coming back to the original producer. But there could be one problem in the future. For example, the lamps in our office, they're coming back to Philips over 5 years. And that Philips said, okay, Thomas, now we have the lamps back, but we don't need the stuff anymore from 5 years ago. We just need leaves and orange juice to make lamps. And then Turntoo says, okay, if this is your new process, we take it. So then Turntoo is creating a raw material bank. So we take care for the raw material, because there will be another producer.
Exactly.
Okay, now I have a new product, but now I need the aluminium.
Okay.
That's
good
how it
contribution.
works. Yeah?
That's what I want to hear.
Okay.
Thanks very much for
thank you.
stimulating it.